Okay guys, welcome back. This is going to be my 25 NL session review part 11, and I've already gone through, I believe, 3 other parts tonight, or today at least. I've done about 5 hours of review. This is a day off that I'm taking, and I have a very big list here of leaks, that spots where I believe that I should not be putting myself into, um, specific for 25 and L, and also just the way that people play, that they generally call too much, and some of my plays are sort of like over betting, I guess, or betting too much, or getting a little bit too aggressive in some spots. But easy fixes, things that I'm already very aware of, and I think I just need to kind of like tone myself down a little bit, relax a little bit, play a little bit more ABC, just sort of pull myself in, rein myself in, and the chips will fall in a better spot, I guess. As you see, I'm down at 25 NL. I am up quite a bit at 10 NL, over 15,000 hands, running pretty nicely there, a good win rate. And at 25 NL, I'm getting wrecked, and this is kind of weird because I feel like I've been playing very well, and definitely this is a small sample, and I have been running bad. I know that as a fact. Going to be turning that around, and we have 28 hands here to review in this session review video. Let's get to it. We're gonna get kind of quick on this one because I want to get maybe this in like another, maybe like 3 more hours tonight. It's already 11:30 p.m. So I'm just gonna go through these hands and see if there's any kind of like huge glaring mistakes. C-bet, that's fine. I C-bet a little bit smaller versus fishier players because it doesn't really matter how much you bet versus them. Like, they're gonna call you if they want to call you, and they're gonna fold if they want to fold. So I'd rather just take this pot down now with a half pot bet. They call. I've already yeah. Okay, we're going to exit this, and we're going to go to the one that's above the 2750, which seems to be a 14 hand session, because we actually went through that one in the last video. Is a 2-part video, like 2.5 hours, I believe, that I spent on 28 hands. So we have Queen Jack suited here. It's a 4-way. I feel like 3-betting Queen Jack suited versus this player. I think that they're a little bit weaker, and Queen Jack suited is going to play nicely in position versus this type of player here. And we flop pretty nicely. We can rep the ace with a double barrel, and I think that I should be double barreling this. Bet like maybe $3 on the flop. 250. That's not terrible, but because I have a lot of equity, I also have backdoor straight draws and also overcards to their underpairs, like if they have 9s or 10s or 7s. Then I want to try to rep the ace here, and I also have massive equity versus a lot of their range. I decided to check behind because I don't think that the 5 is going to provide me a lot of second barrel opportunities to get them to fold. If it was like a king, maybe I could have used that card. Now, whenever the 3 of hearts comes out and they bet into me like that, the first assumption that I made is that they are a weaker player, which means that they're going to have a wider range. They're going to be the type of player that might overvalue their hands. Um, they're going to stack off more easily with weaker holdings as well. He could have a 3x at this point. He could have something like 3-4. 3 king, 3 king suited, a wheel maybe like a 2-4 suited. That's a little stretch. That's a little bit of a stretch. Ace 5, Ace 8, definitely a lot of weaker flushes as well. And maybe even he's betting an ace here, like a strong ace, Ace King, Ace Queen perhaps. So I feel like jamming, and I think that's, I guess I wasn't really feeling up to it. I think that's a pretty good jam spot versus this type of player. Of course, he could have like pocket 8s, pocket 5s, and ace 3. A lot of the times, though, like a flop set or like 2 pair, ace 8 or ace 3, pocket 8s, they would be check raising the flop because it's a little bit drawy. Whenever the turn comes, I check behind, which makes me look really, really weak, like I don't have an ace. So whenever the heart comes out, I can definitely see this player betting a strong ace on the river here because, I mean, it basically breaks. If I have a flush, I'm going to jam. They might fold, they might call me, I don't know. But there's also a lot of weaker flushes that they could have. I guess calling it is the safe way to play. I think jamming there is pretty good too. It might be thin, I guess, but actually, let's Equilab it. I always say that I want to go a little bit quicker, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes you actually have to analyze it and see if maybe you missed a little bit of value. Okay. So the board is 3 of clubs, 8 of hearts, ace of hearts, turn is a 5 of spades, river is a 3 of hearts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign him 1 set, 1 boat. I'm not going to assign him pocket 5s or pocket 3s. I'm going to assign him pocket 8s because my argument was that a lot of the time players would check raise their sets if they're out of position, if the board is drawy, if there's an ace on the board. There's a lot of reasons that they would check raise. So I'm basically weighting it like 50%. They could have turned a set, like they actually might have called with their 5s. I don't really know how bad they are, but it's possible. Ace 3 suited is another combo. I guess I'll give them pocket 3s as well. And just for shits and giggles. I'm not going to give them a set of 5s. Just to weight it a little bit more evenly, I guess you could say. So what is that? 6 combos. Yeah, pocket 8s is 3 combos. Okay, so I don't think that they're going to be calling 3 bets with ace 3 off a lot of the time, but a suited ace most definitely will be doing that. And this is the number of combinations that have us beat. Oh, wait. Sorry. King, queen suited. No, actually, king 10 suited. It's probably... we'll give them king 10 suited and king 9 suited of hearts. So, that's 8 combos. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I should have shoved that. Let's see here. I'm going to make a note about the 8 combos. And scrap paper right here. Got some scrap paper. 8 combos. Okay, now what we have to do is, yeah, I think this is an obvious shove now that I think about it. And that was my gut feeling at the time as well, but I guess, you know, sometimes you get some bad beats, they suck out on you, things aren't going your way for the day, and you don't really have the confidence to shove, or you might even start to think like, okay, there's probably more combos that they could be doing this with, but then you calculate that the worst case scenario, and then just justify a call, or rather than a shove. King 3 suited might do this. Ten 9, 10 7, 9 7, 9 6, 7 6, 7 5, 6 5, and also maybe some strong aces, like let's say ace 8 suited and ace 5 suited might as well, because they actually have a better 2 pair. They're not going to be afraid of that 3. Maybe not. There's no wheel. 2 4 suited is a little bit too low. I don't think they're going to be calling that. That's already 33 combos that have a potential to bet this, and that's not even including something like ace queen, ace king, all these ace kings, ace queens. Ace jack suited might want to bet. But let's just keep it with this. 57 combos. It's not guaranteed that king. Okay, well, if I'm going to be giving them king 3 suited, then I have to give them like more combinations of kings. I'm not sure that they'd be calling king 3 suited. They might call something like king 7 suited. So let's just put the initial combos at like 12, I guess. 12 combos. This is a lot of combos here that are going to be betting this. Well, I don't think I assigned all of these suit selections yet. Hearts, 36 combos. We'll take out a few of these ace X combos. 24 combos. Okay, so even if we take out, let's just say that they're gonna fold. If they're gonna fold their ace kings, if I shove, and some of the time they're gonna fold their better 2 pairs. That leaves. I didn't suit select that, did I? Ace 8. Okay, that's because there's an ace on the board. There's only 3 combos. 10 8. No, that's not in there. 10 6 suited. So the worst it could be is like 11 combos maybe like 13 combos. Yeah. So like a really, really, really low amount. And I can actually definitely see them sometimes calling an ace X suited or ace king off, which would put it to like 25 combos. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's a clear shove. Definitely a clear shove versus this type of a player. If they were more like a 24-15 or 24-19, I think a call would be better. But they're a little weaker. They're going to be a little bit wider as well. Okay, I flop top pair. And yeah, see, I don't know why I'm checking this versus a 71-0. That is an obvious bet right there. Obvious bet. There's no reason that I should be checking that. Okay, now this is where it gets kind of ridiculous. So I could probably just fold this because they're pretty passive. I have a tendency to overvalue a fish's fishiness, but a 71-0 with a 0% 3-bet and a 1.1 aggression factor, 0% steal. This is an extremely passive player, and they have a tendency to like over bet or like bet too much. Whenever I check and I show weakness, they don't understand that, and I have a hard time understanding that myself. So there's a few things going on here. Because I check and then they bomb the river, it always makes me think like, okay, they have to know that I just checked the turn and checked the river. Why on earth are they bombing the pot here? It makes no freaking sense at all. But then I have to remember that they are a fish and they don't understand this. And that's a situation that I get myself into all the time. This is part of the leaks that I wrote down, is not believing a fish's aggression whenever I show weakness, because I'll sort of level myself into calling, but it's really that they're only playing their hand that they have. They're not playing anything else. They're not thinking about my range. They just have a strong hand. They want to bet big because it's a big hand, and they just want to get paid off. So I probably called that. And they have Jack King, so they're bombing the river with Jack King. King, Queen, King, Ace could have been in the range too. King 9. I think that's a clear fold, and I don't like seeing that because, well, I do like seeing it because it's going to let me realize that I probably do have big leaks like this, and I'm going to actually probably try for like the next 20, 30, 40,000 hands to find spots where fish show aggression like this and just start to believe them, and maybe just find more spots to fold, because we'll see how that works out. And then maybe I'll have like a better win rate, and it'll prove to me that it's like a better system, I guess. Okay, so, okay, I have pocket aces here. A really wild player here is min 3 betting me, it looks like. And because they're so fishy, I could definitely have gone bigger here. Definitely could have gone bigger. Um, you know, well, that's actually not a very big 4-bet at all. I could have probably gone like 350. They would have called with a wide range. They shove. And they had 9 ace suited, so well played to them. Next hand. I don't like my sizing there versus that type of player. I could definitely have gone a lot bigger. I flop a top set, and the guy raises me here, and I have top set, and I know that they could be doing this with draws because he's pretty aggressive. He's a little bit wild sometimes. 10% 3-bet, 88% bet flop. That's pretty extreme. 4-bet of 19%. I could actually consider just raising the flop here as well, because a lot of cards can come out that might not, I might not like them very much. Because he could easily be raising 7-6, Queen 7 suited, other sets, flush draws, straight draws. I'd like to come over the top and make it like maybe $9, force him to shove his 2 pairs, maybe call his draws with like less equity than he would like. Whenever the jack hits, I decide to lead out because I want him to pay for his draws, and if he has a value hand, he probably might just shove at this point. And yeah, he raises me, so it's go time. He calls, and he had 6 jack. Like, there's no reason for him to be raising the flop there. That was kind of stupid of him. He already has a pair. He has a flush draw. It's like, why is he raising it? That doesn't make any sense at all. But leading the turn here is a really good play, because if they do have their draw, they're going to call you, but if you check, they might not bet themselves. So it's a really good way for you to make them pay. And I feel like I could have gone bigger. I could have gone to like $6 instead, and they still probably would have called me with a flush draw. And I mean, of course, they could have like a pair plus a flush draw. They could have like a gut shot with a flush draw. There's a lot of combinations that would be calling a larger bet here, and also a very strong value hand like 7-6 suited or Queen 7, Queen Jack maybe. Might just be willing to get it in as well. So bet sizings, bet sizings, bet sizings. I need to continue to improve on that. I'm flopping some sets here, as you can see. I'm going to size my bet a little bit bigger, just because there's an ace on the board, and I don't feel like I'm going to get a lot of value from under pairs. So I might as well just hope that they have an ace or a queen and 10 king, jack 10, something like that. And I don't really need to bet too big here, because I just want to basically bet and then shove the river. There's nothing that can come out that's going to scare me. And they raise, and I call. They have ace-8, so like another donation basically to me. And this is now my favorite player, because they did that with the ace-9 suited earlier when I had aces. Okay, so 7.8% 3-bet. Is 3-betting pretty big versus this fishy player over here? And the 3-bet size is a little bit bigger, probably because they opened a little bit bigger as well. If this player has a HUD, then they might actually be 3-betting a little bit wider to isolate this player and just to make everybody else fold. I think that this is a pretty good spot to 4-bet bluff aces or ace king suited, because I'm in position and they're gonna have to give me credit for a pretty strong hand here, and they might actually fold like pocket tens, pocket jacks. They end up shoving, I call. And they had aces that time, so like if they had jacks or queens or tens, even something like ace queen, they'd probably still be 3-betting, and I could fold out at least I guess you could make the argument that they're going to be pretty strong because it's early position 3-bet. Looks like there's no samples on that one yet. Middle position 3-bet. Middle position 3-bet, I think it is. So 6%. I mean, 6% is like not that small. Pocket nines might be doing this. It just so happens that they have aces that time. I could have flatted it in position as well, I suppose, and just seen a flop and see what happens. But I don't think that was a terrible 4-bet with ace king suited. This Gale player is in the hand here, and I feel like 3-betting, squeezing this field pretty big and isolating Gale. They call, and I bet, and they shove, and I call, and they check shove king queen, and they hit a queen, so that was that might have actually happened after the oh no, okay, so I already won like 2 stacks from them, so I mean they gotta suck out sometimes, or else they probably wouldn't ever play poker to begin with. I'm gonna isolate this player. 75-0. This player decides to call, and I flop top pair. I remember this hand because they donk out into 2 players on an 8-4-2 board. I have top pair, top kicker, and they're pretty fishy. Last time they bombed the river with the Jack King. Remember, after I checked, and they bombed the river with Jack King, a weakish Jack or King. I have a note about them too that they potted the turn with pocket twos with a 2 high flush draw whenever like the turn card was a club, and like let's say this was a 3, and they donk potted a pretty big bet with pocket twos, which is extremely fishy. So I'm going to call. I'm going to be very happy calling this. Whenever the 5 comes out, I don't think that really changes anything. And as you see, they just bomb the turn here, like ridiculous bet. They just destroy the turn. So in the back of my head, I'm thinking like, okay, like they pot turns with like pocket twos, under pairs. And they also, I think, overvalued their king jack. And I believe that shoving here was the correct play based off the history and my reads. And they had pocket nines that time. So I guess because they don't have a 3-bet percentage, I have to include most of their overpair combos as well on an 8 high flop, which would be quite a lot. 36 combos. Maybe sets would do it as well. Maybe. 54 combos. Ace 8 suited, Ace 8 off, and a lot of clubs might come out to be about the same. And then also like something like pocket sixes, just some spew hands, something that's spewing, you know. But I feel like that was actually I think that was fine. I do. 3-betting aces, a 45-21, and it's a king jack 4, and I bet like 4 into 560. It's a 3-bet pot. I think that I don't need to bet too big to get stacks in. The 7 of spades is a nice card. I'm not scared of that. And because they were 45-21, I only have $11 remaining. I believe that they could call a very wide range here. Ace queen would call. All the kings are going to call. King 9, king 10, ace king, king 8 suited, king 6, king 5 suited. Any kind of a jack, ace, jack 10, might even call an $11 shove here. Queen 10 might call because they're 45-21 and it's only $11 remaining. Like if they had 10 queen of spades and they hit their queen and they think that I might be bluffing, they're gonna call. So I shove. Perfectly standard shove with aces here versus a 45-21, and they hit their queen on the river. It's at the top of their range. They have 2 pair, and sucks to be me. I guess I'm not 3-betting queen ace here. I don't think that I need to. 15% VPIP or PFR. It's pretty nitty. Who is this? Folds. Oh, that's their name. Their name is Folds. I just had to donk out. I think that's a fine play. And now, once this player raises me here, yeah, I don't like this either. I don't like my jam here. This is probably me just spazzing out, playing too many tables, and then just not thinking. But I'm gonna get more value on my nut flush draw if I have this player in the hand too, who is an 84-4. And there's a very high chance that they're gonna call. but I jam, and they call, and he flopped the flush, which I'm not surprised about because he's got pretty nitty stats. He's raising the flop whenever I donk. I believe that he either has like a set or a flush at that point. And in order to get better equity, I need this player in the pot as well, so that I can actually hit my club or my heart, and then even maybe get more value from like a 10 or a king of hearts. But they're gonna fold their king of hearts or 10 of hearts some of the time if I jam. And I don't have any fold equity against this player. So this is I already have a new role. I think this is one of the sessions where I was playing 8 tables at a time, just sort of testing it out and seeing how I would do, seeing how I would feel, how comfortable I was. Not yet, at least. Maybe if all 8 tables were like on the same screen and I had like a 30-inch monitor. But at this point, whenever I do more than 6 on one monitor, like they overlap in a certain way that kind of like prevents me from being able to play very efficiently. So I have 2 monitors, two 27-inch monitors side by side. It's a pretty good setup. And I'll put 2 on the other one sometimes. But also, sometimes some of the 6-handed tables become a little bit short-handed, like 3-4 way, because a person might sit out, somebody might leave, and if you have like 2 or 3 tables like that, then you're playing basically like 5-6 max, 1 3-way, another 3-way, 1 4-way, and it's a lot of clicking, a lot of paying attention involved, and that's sort of that gets to me. In a vacuum, this isn't like the most ridiculous shove ever, because I do have top pair, top kicker, I do have the nut flush draw, I do have backdoor straight draws, and also if they're doing this with queen jack for any reason, which probably they aren't going to be doing, but if they are, then I have the ace outs as well for a better 2 pair. So all in all, it's not awful, but it's bad. It's noticeably bad. It's a play that I shouldn't have made. A decision that was not a good decision. Okay, so 13% 3-bet. Pretty fishy player here. 44-18. Doesn't 3-bet too big, but I decided to 4-bet them. This 40-16 player shoves, which is fine because I have to call it off. This player shoves, so I call. So it's kings versus queens here, and I think that was perfectly standard because this guy has the 13% 3-bet. That's pretty big. And they're a pretty fishy player. And I can actually see them like shoving with ace queen sometimes. Like if they're pretty bad, they might shove with ace queen, ace jack suited maybe some of the time. But definitely a lot of pocket pairs. And I don't know, maybe you can make an argument that I'm not going to really have any fold equity versus this type of a player to a 4-bet. Like fold equity, because they're not going to be folding to 4-bets. And yeah, I mean, I think this is fine. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't see any problem with that. Three betting queens, an 84-4 calls my 3-bet. They limp call my 3-bet. And now this player calls as well. And I'm pretty certain that I have the best hand here. So I bet. I'm getting raised by this 84-4, 3.9% aggression factor. Which goes to show you that just because somebody is, oh, well, he could actually have a good hand. Let's not bash him yet. I decided to jam because if they have a pocket pair that they like, they're probably going to just call it off. Even something like ace high might call it off if they're just, yeah, see the money's going to them. Yeah, they have jacks. So as you see, I just run bad. I'm running very bad at 25 and L, I guess you could say. There's been a few times where I suck out, but I think that the times that the villain is sucking out on me is definitely greater. I've lost a lot of coin flips as well. There was one day where I lost 6 in a row. I mean, what are you gonna do? Just big old can of run bad. But I could definitely be playing better as well. One of the main ways to play better is to just reduce my number of tables and reduce the length of session time that I play. So 13% 3-bet. This guy is an awful player. If you look at the other videos, I think it's like part 9, part 10 perhaps. I've played 2,000 hands with a maniac, basically. This guy is a complete maniac. He is one of the worst regs that I have ever seen or played with. And these stats might not show that, but HM2 knows that they're a tornado. I don't see too many tornadoes. This is a gambler icon. Laggy, I guess. This is the eagle, which is a tag. Tight aggressive, like a standard tag. This is basically like a weak sauce tag, like an ABC player right here. Low 3-bet percentage, a low pre-flop raise. This player has a higher 3-bet percentage, a higher aggression factor, a higher VPIP. A higher bet turn percentage. So I decide to call this player in position, and I feel confident enough that I can do this. If this was an unknown, I would be folding queen 10 off. This bet doesn't really worry me very much. And I actually have a double gutter right here. So I actually decide to raise him here. The pot is already $8. Because of their bet flop percentage of 72, I feel like they're going to be incredibly wide a lot of the time. They would even be c-betting like pocket 6s, pocket 5s, pocket 7s. They're complete air, like even 8-9 might bet. This guy is just completely random, completely psycho. I think that I could have raised bigger and then just called it off if he... That should have been my plan. I should have raised it like 12. Which would basically mean that if they shoved over top of me, I would just call it off because I do have the double gutter. And I do have like high cards if they want to be like shoving 9-10 or weaker flush draw perhaps. But now, okay, so this is where it gets a little bit fuzzy. Because they didn't actually shove over the top of me, I could have actually just called this. This is where I made a mistake. I kind of just like, again, playing too many tables and wasn't taking the time to react. I was not playing perfect poker. The call price here is actually $5.40, and if I take the $5.40 and I divide it by, well, I'm pointing at the screen as if you can see it, but that's just because I'm still sick and I'm an idiot. So 27.28 plus 5, 6 is 34. Let's just say 34. I know it's not accurate. That comes out as 16%. And in order to hit my straight, I have 8 outs, and that would be like 18% to hit. So I'm basically getting like break-even odds to hit my straight. And then I'd have $11 remaining, and if they shove, I can call it off, or I can fold. Probably just fold, I think, because if the pot is already 27, 28, and I call, then it's 32, and then they'd be shoving 11 into 32, which would be 11 divided by 43. And that's 25%, and then I can fold because it's not the correct equity that I would need. So I should have just called this because that's a really weird sizing. I think that they just kind of like, I thought that they just shoved and I just basically called or shoved and well, just to get the chips in, but I didn't take the time to just sit back, relax, take my hand off the mouse, breathe, and just breathe and just enjoy my time at the tables. So that was poorly played by me. They have ace king, and if my 9 or queen hit, then they'd probably get their money in anyway. So yeah, poorly played. Okay, so this is 25 and L, and we are pretty deep here. And it's a 4-10-10 flop, a super fish over here. And this guy is yeah, I mean, because they're 51-21, I can see them calling a really, really wide range on the flop here. All the clubs, there's a ton of heart draws that are opening up. Anything that wanted to float me, because it was actually only a $5 bet, and this player's pretty fishy, so they could be floating me with a pretty wide range here. Jack queen now, 7-8. Pocket jacks, pocket queens, pocket eights, might even call one more time. A half pot bet. All like the ace X suited that have a nut flush draw are going to be calling me as well. If you wanted to peel with ace 4 of hearts, something like that. So I bet half pot, and they shove, and now the pot is 61. I have to call 16. Pot is 61, so that's 16 divided by 78, which is basically 20%. So I have to believe that they're doing this 20% of the time with hands that I beat, and I think that this is a clear call. This is an easy call. I went through this hand a few times thinking that maybe I overplayed it, but the 9 of hearts is a card that opens up a ton of extra draws that they could be floating me with. And also, again, the jacks and queens and under pairs that might want to call me. At this point, they shove, and I think that they could be shoving draws. They could be shoving strong draws, but of course they could be shoving a 10 as well. But jacks and queens might be shoving also. He happened to have jack 10 off, and I lost one of the biggest pots that I've played at 25NL. And if you remember the time before I lost a pot this big, it was also like a $75 pot at 25NL. The guy had king 5 on a 5XX flop, and this was a 3-bet pot. I had kings, he had king 5. I bombed the flop, I bombed the turn, and I shoved the river. And he called me on the turn with bottom pair. He called me on the flop with bottom pair. And then on the river, he spiked 2 outer, and he hit his 5. So he had trips now after I was just destroying the pot with just nuclear bombs just going off. And he called me with bottom pair. So this is why I do these things. Because, so he won the pot because he had trips, and I had kings, and he had king 5 in a 3-bet pot for $75. Yeah, so that's the session, 50-minute session, and I think this is part 11, is it? Yeah, part 11. So peace out, everyone, and I'm going to do some more videos, and hopefully you'll see some 50NL videos pretty soon. So no rush though. There's no rush. I can be at 25NL for another month or two, I guess, if the gods are not in my favor.